after the Thanksgiving holiday, it wasn't just the turkey that got pardoned, Logan. It was also Hunter Biden. And let me tell you this right off the bat. The president has pardon power, universal, not Karine Jean-Pierre, not his spokespeople, not people on CNN, not people on MSNBC. This is a power the Constitution and the following the legal community has given to the president of the United States as commander-in-chief. He can both pardon or commute sentences. Pardon means your record is cleansed only on federal issues, so it does not involve state crimes. A commutation means you've served your time. You should be released if you're incarcerated. That crime should should kind of no longer be following you around in life. So what I have to hear, what I think is so hilarious about this for the left, and there's not a lot of funny things usually about the pardon power, but the funny thing here was that the left put out until last week, I think, Karine Jean-Pierre, right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I feel for her in some ways, because clearly they gave her that message.
What I wonder is, did they even ask Joe Biden? Because we've all talked about how this was a White House that looked like it was being run by someone other than Joe Biden, right? Like it didn't seem like he was actually in charge. And so they thought they could go out there and make these big, huge statements about democracy. And even after he was pushed out of being president, let me tell you the moment Joe Biden said, I don't care about any of your stinking protocols. I don't want to talk to Karine Jean-Pierre.
I'm going to pardon
I don't want to listen to you. You are a bunch of turncoat traitors, and I'm going to do whatever I can do legally, by the way, legally with his position. So be very nervous and cautious, folks, about jumping on some train that's, Hunter Biden this, Hunter Biden that.
If he had not doubled and tripled and quadrupled down on the pardons, on not pardoning, I don't think anyone would care. I think we would understand. It's your kid. I think he thought he was going to lose or not going to be the president.
I thought he had another 4 years.
Yeah,
he thought he had another 4 years.
He thought he had another 4 years. Then when it wasn't, and then when it was definitely that Kamala didn't, it's like, okay, at this point, like you said, forced out. I don't necessarily blame him for doing this, whether I agree with the decision or not. I understand the point that you're angry. It is what it is, and we have to move on. But what it does do is lower the bar for pardoning, which I think is interesting. It's kind of like impeachment in that sense, which is if you lower the bar for impeachment for Trump, you'll have to lower the bar for impeachment for any other president. And I feel like it is very similar with the pardon situation here, which is if you lower the bar for your family, you all of a sudden are lowering the bar for pardons overall.
Oh, absolutely. I remember there was a lot of talk when President Trump left office about the idea of a self-pardon. He decided not to do that. But again, this also plays into that. I mean, this gets as close as you can to a self-pardon is pardoning your son for crimes that were completely unrelated to anything involving, politics or the White House.
I want to read some tweets for you of how some of the left is taking this news today. Here's the Democrat governor of Colorado. While as a father, I certainly understand President Joe Biden's natural desire to help his son by pardoning him, I am disappointed that he put his family ahead of country. This is a bad precedent that could be abused by later presidents and will sadly tarnish his reputation. Mark Penn, former Hillary Clinton longtime advisor. Disgraceful pardon. This was not a pardon of just Hunter Biden, but of Joe Biden himself as his son ran a scheme with Joe's brother to shake down adversaries of over $20 million and then didn't even pay taxes on it. And the loot was distributed even to grandchildren. This is yet another of many issues the American public was shamefully gaslighted over. So a Hillary Clinton advisor now sounding more like a right-wing pundit when it comes to that. And then you've got this, Congressman Greg Landsman. As a father, I get it. But as someone who wants people to believe in public service again, it's a setback. So the left is having a meltdown over this. And part of the reason is because they were so adamant by believing what the White House was telling them that he would not issue such a pardon. Here's a supercut of folks on MSNBC. Back through, this is over a span of time, when the White House kept telling everyone there will not be a pardon for Hunter Biden. Here's how MSNBC chose to report this.
Our current president of the United States has so much respect for the law that he has said he would not pardon his son. I mean, what again, it's all about the contrast.
President Biden saying, I will respect whatever this jury decides, versus
right.
Donald Trump after he was convicted on 34 counts, saying the entire system is rigged against him.
Their latest attack has been that Joe Biden has politicized and weaponized the DOJ, right? That was the whole argument around Donald Trump's conviction. And this week, of course, Hunter Biden was found guilty. And Joe Biden has very clearly said he would not pardon his son. He would not commute his sentence. How stark is this difference? I mean, how can Republicans keep making this argument now that Joe Biden has really put it out there? Where's Hunter? And he stood there in a courtroom, flanked by his family, and he's accepted his sentence.
He is not pardoning his son. Which he could do. These are federal charges.
Right.
He is not doing that. He is not doing it because he is living what it means to have a rule of law in this country. Yeah. And it isn't, I mean, if you want to know if he believes it, you could actually see what is happening with his own son.
They praised him for being, he was like, the most gracious. He's like above
the most American, Captain America.
Yeah. How could you be? And now you know what Joe Biden showed? And you know what, folks, this isn't necessarily bad. There's a reason why the founding fathers put this in our Constitution. It's because there was a high level, and there always has been in politics, and it's happened to Donald Trump, for the legal system and the justice system and the IRS and the other government agencies to come down hard on political leaders that they disagree with. And so was Hunter Biden treated fairly or not? Seems like he was actually treated sometimes better than others because of like the laptop. He got totally, but we all eventually learned that stuff was not real. That he's gone through rehab very publicly. It's been this very kind of interesting public story.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, a president is a president, but they are also a father. And when you know that you have that power to maybe help your son stay on the right track this time, why aren't you going to give it to him?
Well, I think
and by the way, I don't want to hear another liberal the entire Trump presidency ever once complain about a single person Donald Trump pardons, because none is going to be like this one.
Well, I think you look at this one, and you can look at some of the ones that Trump did do, and they were some high-level people that were within the Trump world. They may have been his friends.
Incarcerated.
Yes, whether that was Manafort or any of these ones, Roger Stone or whoever it may be, that were
I think was
pardoned over
Stone,
time.
He wanted a commutation.
Not
he wanted
Roger
to keep
Stone.
fighting, right?
Right. Yeah, I believe there was a commutation there so that he could
They
continue
put
to
Paul
fight. to expunge
Manafort in
his-
solitary confinement.
I'm saying
for
that
God's
is-
sakes, folks.
is when-
And he got a pardon, and the left went nuts.
That's what I'm more saying.
Hunter Biden's been painting
this is where we
million-dollar
are.
pictures.
This is where we are in time. So you know what? It is what it is.
This is the law of the land.
But I think if it didn't come down to all of those supercuts you just saw, where there is 10 minutes or so, at least, that people have already put together of them saying there's no chance, and the reason there's no chance he's going to pardon him is because he's so great. He is America's America. He is the greatest of the greatest. If you had not said that, I don't think you would have any issues here. I think people would understand, and people would expect that you would do this.
Well, and I think one thing to also point out, Jordan, is that the left loves to put arbitrary restrictions on elected officials like the President of the United States, but are completely fine with the bureaucracy running amok and doing whatever they want. But when you read the article of the Constitution, the clause that talks about pardons, Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1, we have... he shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. There's not a ton of over restrictive what kind you can put.
The placement of that.
Yeah.
The first clause under the Constitution establishing the presidency of the United States as commander-in-chief. Clause 1 is the pardon power. That is how concerned our founding fathers were with those who were elected, because let me tell you, you think our politics is rough. It is nothing like it used to be. I mean, not even, it may have gotten close under the Trump years. And of course, we've seen political violence, unfortunately, throughout our history. And that's that liberty versus freedom balance that we constantly have to look at. But the fact is, Article 2, Section 1, gives you the pardon power as president.